this weekend, regardless of who wins, with both teams currently tied on 3. So in many ways, in terms of World Cup, whoever wins tomorrow will be the most successful team in World Cup history. So lots on the line, and two very interesting sides that have been named. Both teams sticking to their guns, sticking to what they're good at, sticking to what's worked for them throughout the tournament. And at this stage, not really willing to adjust for the other side. So before we look at the two teams, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. We'll start with the South African side. They've gone with a 7-1 split. That is the big news, which is a huge call to make. Especially to go off the bat. And you can see very clearly where they see the game's going to be won, and that is up front in the pack in wet conditions by trying to bully and physically dominate the All Blacks. So if we look at it, it is Sibi Kitshoff, Bongi Mbambe, Frans Malherbe, Eben Etzebeth, Franco Mostert, Siya Kolisi, Pieter Steph Toy, and Duane Vermeulen in an unchanged pack that played against England last week. There were worries about fatigue. I think that's kind of all been taken up by the fact that we've got replacements for 7 out of 8 of our forwards, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that sort of changes the mindset with regards to them being able to guard and empty the tank. The back line has changed a little bit. A new halfback pairing in Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard. They become the most capped halfback pairing for the Springboks ever. This is the most experienced Springbok team, by the way, ever, that is taking to the field tomorrow. And those two are going to have to play a big role. If we win tomorrow, it's because those two are good games. That for me is without a doubt. Those two are the most important players on the day, I reckon. Your two wings haven't changed. Chisholm Colby and Cody Lawrence, same in the centers. Damien de Linde, Jesse Creel, Damian Williams are all being backed for the form they've shown throughout the tournament. A lot of trust the coaches have in these players. Then the bench, that's what's very interesting, isn't it? Deon Fourie, Oxenchair, Trevin Yekani are the reserve front row. Trevin Yekani has come in for the injured Vincent Koch. I don't think there's any still step down. In fact, I'm actually so excited that Trevor is going to play tomorrow. Didn't play the 2019 World Cup, got injured in the first game against New Zealand. So what an arc it is to miss the entire World Cup due to an injury against New Zealand, to come back 4 years later and to finish with a World Cup final against New Zealand. It's fantastic in a World Cup final. It's absolutely brilliant for him, and very chuffed he will get that chance. Two locks in Jean-Claude and Arcus Neyman, as well as further two back rowers in Kwagga Smith and Jasper Wiese. I see Bongi Mbambe going the distance, to be honest, potentially, and with Deon Fourie, Kwagga Smith and Jasper Wiese potentially being the loose chair at the end. Billy Lou, the only backline player. A lot of people are scared about that decision, and I think Scrum-off would have been the safer call. The reason it is Billy Lou, I think, is obviously the experience and the calm head he brings, but also because Damian Williams is our utility player. And so Billy Lou is a direct replacement of Damian Williams, who can shift to 10, 12, 14. He can play across that back line. And so, you need a replacement for him, seeing as that he will be the one that will shift if there are injuries to that back line. It's a risk in terms of not having scrum off. Minter Ches and Colby will have to deputise if Faf de Klerk goes down, which a touch would he won't. But that's what we've gone with. And in terms of New Zealand, well, they've backed their own strengths. They've got stuck with a 5-3 split. They've stuck with a very similar side, just the two changes, only one new player into the side in Nepolo Lala, and a change with Brodie Taylor going into the front, into the starting lineup, and Sam Whitelock dropping back down to the bench. So the front row is Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, Tyro Lomax. This front row battle is going to be huge. I do think this game could very well be won in the scrums. Brodie Taylor, Scott Barrett behind them means there'll be powerful tied 5. So I think that matchup's going to be really interesting. We've then got Shannon Frizzell, Sam Cane, Ardie Sevilla, much better loose trio than we saw in August. Shannon Frizzell will add a lot of physicality. Sam Cane playing a lot much better rugby than he was a few months ago. Aaron Smith, Richie Mwanga have been the halfback pairing throughout the tournament. They continue to be backed. Mark Talaire back on the back of his World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year nomination. He and Will Jordan on the wings there. Will Jordan looking to try and break that Rugby World Cup try-scoring record. He needs one more to break it. In the centres, it will be Geordie Barrett and Rico Awani. Beauden Barrett at full back. Off the bench in a 5-3 split. All Blacks not being pulled into a slug match by the box. They're back in their 5-3 split. It will be Samasoni Takawau, Tamati Williams, Nepolo Lala. Then Sam Whitelock, Dalton Papali'i, Finlay Christie, Damien McKenzie, and Tom Leonard Brown. Very, very tried and tested formula from Ian Foster and his coaches. I wonder what your score predictions are. Who do you think is taking it? Who is winning the World Cup? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Thursday Night Fan Forum. We've arrived. We made it to the final big dance, haven't we? The Boks made it through to face our old foes, All Blacks in the final. I suppose deep down it's the final we all really wanted, maybe even scared, but it's the two heavyweights of world rugby, The Boks are in, the All Blacks are there, flying under the radar apparently, but they're there. Guys, as you can see, you got Daniel, we got Rudes, we got Rion. How you guys doing?
Pumped.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. Thanks.
yeah.
Confident.
Sorry, Rudes.
No, just confident.
Yeah, quiet. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, well, let's drive straight into like reviewing the semis. Yeah, the box a little bit tighter than we hoped. Hey, I don't know if you guys want to go around and give your views. Obviously conditions played a part. The starters didn't start really, and the bomb squad had to come save the day for us. So Daniel, what are your thoughts on the semi-final?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to describe it is that just the boys were flat. We haven't seen that much of a Springbok team with all the caps, all the caliber, and no bite. Just it was really a kind of show of dominance from the English that we haven't seen in a long time, and a will to win that came from them, mixed with maybe a bit of complacency, but also I think what just looked like a lot of tired legs and people who have been trying to motivate themselves in new and different ways for every single game, and they kind of just didn't have it inside the belly to really rev them up, which led into it and led to a bit of a heist at the end of it, but showed the caliber of what 23 means, and not just the starting 15. So I think there are a lot of the players that are just grateful to actually be in the World Cup final, where everyone was told that if you got it out the quarters, you were in the final straight away, which is, I don't think, a bad thing, to be humbled a little bit before the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rudes, I mean, I know probably from your point of view, it was never in doubt, though, was it really? You're feeling fine through the whole game?
Actually, not. There was a lot of anxiety and stress. I think over the last 2 weeks, a lot of us have aged probably 20 plus years.
Sure.
So considering the quarterfinal against France, which is arguably one of the greatest rugby games, albeit World Cup games ever, there was a lot of emptying of the tanks. I'm with Daniel on that one. I just think South Africa, with the 23 that Daniel just spoke about, I think there's just a belief and a confidence and a trust in one another that should things pan out the way it did. And I do think the conditions was a leveler in favor of England. So it shifted our game plan to rush through a little bit, in my opinion. But I just think the belief was always there for them. And having Andre Pollard come off the bench and kick that penalty was just spectacular. And we got some welcome relief to be in this position come Saturday.
Yeah, everyone, absolutely. I don't know what you thought as well. I mean, we're hooking Mani, poor guy, off in the first half. But I mean, as you guys know, I'm a big Mani fan. Probably Pollard's up there with him now in my books. But yeah, amazing decision to make. The right decision. I thought it was the right decision at the time. But how did you feel? How did the game play out for you? How did you see? How did it go?
It was like Daniel said. I think motivation every week is becoming an issue, and it doesn't help that we have no load shedding. So everyone's going very well here. So we can't even fall back on that anymore. Just that the high of the France game was so high to come back up off and go onto a team like England that has been written off, which obviously then gives the English side a bit of a leg up. It was just a perfect storm. And I think this team, if it was 2019, would have lost that game, but they've come through that. They a much better side now. They've been through the wars together, and that bench just came on and saved us. It was such a good way of changing the game, changing the whole scene, and getting that scrum. It was incredible. And hooking Mani, like you said, I don't think he would have felt too bad about it. Honestly, that would have been an obvious thing to do, to try and get us out of a half. He wasn't getting us out of a half. He would have recognized that he made a few mistakes, and I'm sure he's happy to be in a team that's playing in the final, even if he's not in the 23, just to be there for one more week to play the big game. I don't think it would affect him too much, and it got us the win. So I'm happy with it. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, totally. It was, But well, obviously, it's unfortunate, like you say, he does miss the final. It was just very strange to see. He literally went off the boil. He shat the bed. He was kicking out of hand, was poor.
Yeah,
That was, for me, that was very worrying, because when you can see a player crumbling like that, that's why he's not in this 23. There's no.
I'm sure you remember him playing against Leinster last year in Ireland, and that was also a windy, wet game. He played terribly there. I think the Stormers lost against Connacht in Galway before, also terrible weather. I think he needs to learn how to play in the wet. It seems to be a bit of a Achilles heel for him. And again, now it was in the wet. It's a game where you need to get your kicks perfect. You need to get out of your half, and he just did not have the tools to do it for us.
Yeah, just probably shows. Scotty, like he has a frailty in his technique. People have been calling it out, but it is laid bare under certain conditions, and his place kicking and his general kicking overall. But obviously, it's such a pity because he adds so much to the game. And Scotty Farrell, how did he go? Apparently, he's put his name back on the lights, the shining lights. Yeah. I mean, he got this wonderful drop goal apparently, but then he also sweared at the ref and cost his team 3 points as well. So, what do you think of Farrell in England? What do you think now for England? Because they came in, they had quite an attitude. They really were full of themselves. That they had self-belief, which they really had to. I mean, you have to believe you're going to win if you're going to win. What do you think for England now? Do you think that they're on the rise, or was it again they didn't score a try again? They still seem to lack certain strengths and attacking play. But what do you think for them?
I think unfortunately I don't think there's anyone in the English camp that's bigger than him that can really control that. I think we have a couple big players, maybe not as mouthy. I mean, even Willie can go off on a whim every now and again. But your captain kind of just needs to be the person that puts someone in their place. You can still have, I think Farrell's an amazing leader, and I think people will follow him to an extent, but he's a bit of a shithouse, right? Like, he loves getting on people's nerves, which is not what you need from a captain. Like, Richie McCaw was a serial offender on the rugby pitch, but he wasn't a person that would always piss you off to the extent where you threw punches at him. That wasn't him. He was very diplomatic in the way that he would go about the management on a person-to-person level. And I think you look at the same as Sear, he'll bugger you up on the field, but when it comes to talking to the ref, very level-headed. And I think maybe that's where he lacks as a captain. And as a player, I think he's he's up there with the best of them. And it sucks to say as a South African. Obviously, I think he had an incredible game. He dictated it. If he played it on his foot at 10, he should never be playing 12 for England. If he's going to play him at 10, which they did. And he was almost the reason that this English team almost beat the world champions, which was a very likely outcome and would have been headline news for the next 4 years. And it would have been all because of Farrell. So I don't think we can just discount that. But I think maybe there's just one character missing in that English setup that acts as that captain role while he can be the big player and the big personality and the a leader that he is.
Yeah, well, this is my 2 points. I still truly believe if he wasn't playing, England might have won the game. I honestly believe Ford is a superior player. And we want to talk about leadership, put Khaleesi and him side by side. I only see one leader that around and pissing refs off. I don't think that's a leader. I think that's just annoying. So that's my opinion. But he did step up. So got to give him that. But I still think England are a better team with Ford. Also, just want to say welcome to everyone on the live chat. So you got some comments coming through already. Stephen Vessel Swartz regarding Marnie. Clearly, there is a plan with the 7-1. So if you can only choose one flyer for the World Cup final against New Zealand, and it's between Marnie and Andre, is there really any doubt? For sure. Grant Swart, Marnie Leboeck will still win Breakthrough Player of the Year. Yeah, possibly. Matthew Dickinson, England needs Bongi. Yeah, they sure do.
He might have burned some bridges there. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how welcome he is anymore.
Yeah. We'll move on to the other semi-final, guys. There was another one that took place. That was obviously a very comfortable win in the end for New Zealand, right, Rudes? But if you caught it, what you made of that? I thought obviously Argentina was a little bit disappointing, right? We were obviously hoping that they'll give them a stronger game. So if you caught it, what did you make of that? And obviously maybe even comment on New Zealand's chances. Rudes, my man, can you hear me?
I think.
No, Rudes. I'll pass it on to you, Rian. Did you catch the semi-final? What did you make of it?
I'm mostly disappointed in Argentina. I thought they would have done better than that. We all knew this New Zealand can do that. They've done it to multiple teams this tournament. So I was hoping for Argentina, especially their back row, to step up and just how they beat New Zealand before was just tackle the hell out of them and then defend perfectly and kick well. But at the start of the game, they were trying to run everything. They were trying to do everything not in their 22, but in their half. And they just ran themselves off their feet very early on in the game. So, my biggest thing is I was disappointed in Argentina. And then New Zealand, they've got a team that's buzzing. It looks like their scrum is going well now. Their locks are going well. Unless you're Scott Barrett, that guy might still be a liability. We'll see. And Aaron Smith and I thought Moanga might have been injured, but I see he's in. So everything is looking very nice for them now. They've had a nice hard game against Ireland, a nice cool down against the Pumas, and now another hard game against us. I just hope we can get up for them.
Yeah, Scott, I don't know if you managed to catch that game as well, but if you got comments on the game itself. But we will preview the final. But do you have any comments on the semi?
Yeah, I think to echo what Rian said, a bit disappointed in Argentina that there wasn't just. Really, they did it in third gear, like the New Zealanders, right? They weren't really tested. The points were kind of pretty regular, and without too much of a sweat. It didn't, 50 points is pretty significant, or almost 50 at least. But I think a lot of the chat I feel like has been they've now seen what they can get to with their win over Ireland, which was as good of a All Black performance that I think we'll ever see under Ian Foster. Like, I'm not sure if they go higher than that. We definitely haven't seen it higher than that. And it's maybe just a question. I don't think we use too much of what we learned from that Argentina game because I don't know how much there is to learn from it.
Yeah.
I think we do a lot of the learning from what happened in that Ireland game, and that's the All Blacks we need to beat this weekend. And it's one of those where, our boys have fatigue in their legs because we dragged out our semi-final until the 78th minute and still barely got over the line. And theirs was done by pretty much 2 minutes after the second half whistle blew. So, it's tough. I think also, with the draw that we've had, it's been tough. But at the end of the day, no one remembers that in a couple of years' time. You're either the best team or you aren't, and you need to go win. So that's what we're going to need to do. I'm not the best comment.
For me, Italy and Argentina, they play with a lot of endeavor and guts and courage, but they are limited teams, right? Let's be honest. They don't have the X factor as such. They take the ball up and it inevitably breaks down because they can't get through. I mean, to get it to another World Cup semi-final, they must be pleased again. So yeah, good on them. And that leads us probably into the third and fourth playoff game that no one wants to play or get involved in. A humdinger of a game Friday night, England Argentina. I'm sticking my neck out here. I'm thinking RGs get revenge. I think they're going to be more up for it. I think England's played their final against us and are halfway home already. So I'm calling it now. You heard it first. I think RGs are going to win it. So Rion, how do you think it's going to go?
Well, if you look at the teams, England have a guy called Theo Dan at 2. I mean, I thought he was just too old to make coffees and hold tackle bags. That guy hasn't played once. So they obviously giving everyone the last run except Courtney Laws, who's retiring. I can't believe they haven't given him a run out. So
that's ridiculous.
And Argentina has picked a proper team. So I think Argentina are out to get that third place. They really want it. Maybe it'll get a bit nasty at the end. I think both teams might be a little upset at what happened in the semis. The Argentinians may be embarrassed, and the English just angry at the world for not making it. So I'm hoping either a barbarian style just chuck about and everyone runs in 5 tries, or I'm hoping a bit of a slog and maybe a bit of a Barney on the 50th minute when things get a bit heated. One of those two. Otherwise, no, I don't see it being very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Could be anything, right? These games, they are generally loose. If I can remember, they're not as full intensity as other. I remember when we played the All Blacks. I think it was in France. I think we beat them in Cardiff. I think
we won in
2003 or something. I think we beat them.
Yeah. So we should move. We should move on. Start previewing the final, right? It's the big dance. We have made it to the big dance. The teams were announced today. We'll put up the New Zealand team to start and bring you guys back in. Don't want to cut you off there. Yeah. So this is the All Blacks team. I think this is as strong as they can get. I think what they've taken out. Can't think of the guy at the front row, Branco, who was playing lately. He's been replaced by Lala. But other than that, full strength, right? I mean, for me, Brazil and Jordy Barrett are so mainstay, key kingpins of this team. The fact that they have made it through to be in the starting lineup gives this team a strong look. Scotty, what do you think? What do you make of this All Black side?
Yeah, I think it's as strong as they come, to be honest. And I think there were maybe a couple question marks coming into the World Cup. Obviously, they came in off the bat of that 35-7, I think it was, defeat to us. And I felt like there were a lot of holes. I think Frizzell brings so much to that forward pack. And he just complements. I mean, Ardy is Ardy.
Yeah, I agree.
World class.
Yeah.
And Sam Cane is stepping up against Ireland. So all of a sudden, if you take Ardy, who was holding together that loose 3, who's now with, because they didn't have Frizzell in that game versus the Springboks before the World Cup, with Frizzell, who ran over us in New Zealand, and Sam Cane, who's in fine form, and kind of really, as the word on the street is, has the support of his team. So I think world class. The only real surprise maybe is Scott Barrett and having Whitelock on the bench, but that's maybe just for impact. And I think the only other hole is maybe Roy Gard for Finney Christie. I'd rather have Finney Christie there as a Springbok fan, but I think the game. I think to be honest, I think Aaron Smith probably plays 80 minutes. It's his final game as a thing. If it's coming down to the wire, I really don't see them passing the baton to Finney Christie.
Aaron Smith's been on fire, right? Probably his best form. He's been crazy good, and he is also another one that's key because I don't think he was up to his usual standards for a while, and he has found his groove, and when he's got his groove going, that team goes, right. And word of Frizzell, I I can't remember if it was Papali'i, but I mean, I think what Brazil definitely let Sam Cane and Ardie Surveyor play. They trust that he's doing his job and he's doing the right job and what they need him to do. Well, Papali'i, I think, is a bit loose. I think they're a bit worried about him. They're tailing him and looking over their shoulders what he's up to. But I think with Brazil, it looks like Sam Cane and Surveyor just get down to business, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, Rian, what's your thoughts? So full strength side.
Yeah, it's time to put the boot on these guys' necks. They all think they're good. We'll show them. No, I'm just kidding. That is a scary side, especially with Retallick back. And like you say, Frizzell back, that makes their pack a lot better than the one we played at Twickenham. I understand why Barrett's on the field to start, because you need to take him off after his first yellow card. And then they've got a great bench. Papali'i is there to tackle and tackle and tackle and tackle. He might not be as devastating a ball carrier as Frizzell, but at the end of the game, when guys like Quagga and Dion Fourie might be coming on, you want someone who's fresh and who's a very good ball tackler. And then, the front row, the starting one at least, should be able to keep us at bay. That's I think what they want. They just need, the old saying, just need parity, and then their backs can do the thing.
Correct.
But with the weather that's being predicted, it's said to be a very wet game. I don't think we'll see as much running as we've seen before. But these guys, I mean, they can handle the ball in any weather. So it's going to be a tough day. It's going to be tough to beat this team. The backs coming on, Damian McKenzie, Anton Leonard-Brown, they are, world-class, very experienced operators. So there's not really much you can say. We know what we need to do. We need to slow down the ball to Aaron Smith. Then you kind of break their game. It's just a matter of being able to do that. That's the big question.
Yeah, and I'm so fascinated. Well, obviously the conditions are going to be interesting, and I don't know what you guys feel. I feel that suits probably New Zealand. They're far more used to playing in greasier conditions. Like I think of some of those wet games in the Super Rugby, the backs still get going, and they might be more used. That's obviously why we've picked the side we have as well. And also so really interested to see how they come out, because we can't come out cold again like we did against them in Hamilton when we played them, and last week we just can't. We all know 10 points behind with All Blacks is an Everest. So and I think what do you guys have comments before we go into the Springbok side on the ref Barnsley? I mean, I was not surprised that he was elected for this game, but from my eye, he's a ref that probably suits the All Blacks because he lets it flow a bit more. So if they come out fast, I'm a little bit worried that he might get on the All Blacks, and I think he's a bit of an undercover All Black fan, to be fair. So, but what's your guys' comments on Barnsley?
I won't go as far as to say that he's an All Black fan, but I mean, I think, to be honest, like he's probably, I mean, obviously, I think he's deserved it. Like it felt like he was the next, guy to take on the whistle for the final. Ben O'Keefe, obviously being New Zealand, obviously couldn't, and neither could Jaco Peyper. I think Luke Pearce is also, run undercover. I think he's actually been pretty decent.
He'll be the next one.
Yeah. I think he's really decent. Also English, obviously, but I'm not mistaken. I think he's on the sidelines. No,
I think he's been called as the fourth official. Like if something goes wrong with Barnes, if he pulls a Piper, it'll be Pearce.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think there's all too much to chat about with the refs. I think Barnes will do a good job. He's there's not too much. Can't recall too much beef being there with him in any aerial international.
I think go look at who was the ref in 2007 when the All Blacks got knocked out. Was it Mr. Barnes? Who missed that?
Was it?
No, I think it was him.
All
Blacks are very big fans of him.
Yeah, I don't want to get up onto the ref talk. Maybe we can maybe leave it at the end of the show. But I had been calling ref calls dictating games, and there have been controversies, but not on the Springbok side. But I've just kept quiet because I honestly thought we were going to be on the receiving end. So I've just did it happen, but I really thought that at least even France or even England, if one decision either way and we out, right? And yeah, obviously France were not happy with the ref, and neither were England, right? So let's go to some comments before we get to Springbok team. Deerwald, they have 5-3 splits in a sense that they're not concerned about our 7-1. Yeah, that's true. They just keep into their strength. I think they'll keep on laying their running game for sure. I think even the wet, they don't change it up for the wets. New Zealand, I've never noticed them to do that. The World Say Book Show. We've got some cheating comments there from the guys. Yeah, we all know we poisoned the All Blacks and that's why they lost. Of course, we lifted the trophy. Very own ways as well. Anyone want to comment on Mwanga's kicking performance? Yeah, we actually wanted to touch on Mwanga. Mwanga,
I gave Mwanga, and I got clickbaited into a 3 out of 10 on last week Friday. So always will remember that. But
yeah, but for me, Mwanga's got like this peak cadence about him. Like he can be flat, he can be terrible, or he gets completely over anxious and makes mistakes. But if he's in the sweet spot, he's probably almost the best in the world. But yeah, I think a lot will how he plays as well, how he goes is going to dictate, right, how they go.
He doesn't have a lot of distance on his clearing kicks. I think that's one area where we will be trying to target him a lot. He doesn't kick it as far. So if you kick deep on kickoffs and you force them to exit from their try line, that's where we, I think, are going to try and target them, because Pollard does have a much longer boot. He can hit 50 meters easily, where Mwanga can't. So either we're going to see maybe Jordy Barrett doing exit kicking, especially in that weather, to get out of their 22, or we're going to try and force Mwanga to be the guy kicking the ball out. So I'll be keeping an eye on that to see, like, especially his exit kicks. We want to kick off deep and stop them far back in their half, and then stop them from running it out and giving Mwanga easier clearance.
I also think so. It's like, I don't think you would go as far as to gamble a whole game plan on it. But I actually think that Mwanga could be a potential target for South Africa. We saw how we targeted George Ford in the last final, and if you can get to that fly half, and let's face it, Mwanga hasn't showered himself in like the most insane Rugby World Cup, and he didn't have a great semi-final by any means. I actually think that most of the kicking should be given to Jordy. Like, I think his percentages have been higher, whether it's from distance or not. And he will be kicking, I think, for penalties for the touchline. And I mean, I still remember when in New Zealand he kicked over at least a 45-meter one from almost the corner. To take a W versus us. I think he's cold, and Mwanga has it, right? Like, it's there. We all know it. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be there. But maybe a couple loose Mwanga performances could make him a potential target for Peter Steph.
Yeah. Well, we've lost Roods, and he might have tried to sneak back in, and I might have missed him, and now he's gone again. And I would have really liked him to be here for the Springbok preview, his beloved Springbok. So I think he's gone there because he was having technical issues. So we do apologize, and if he does come back, we'll obviously bring it in. But we can move on to the Springbok team. There it is, boys. I mean,
great.
I mean, probably not much surprises. Yeah, we would think after what happened.
7-1.
No, it's a 7-1 split. This is crazy. This
is not a surprise. We did it. So Springboks did it when we last thrashed them. This is what Rassie and Jacques feel is the best way to beat them. I think it's fine. You guys, you think it's you're not on, right?
Well, I just think it's first of all, I think it's hilarious that, like last World Cup, it was just mind-blowing news that that the Springboks had a 6-2 split, and to think that the Springboks haven't had a 6-2 split once in the knockout stages of this tournament, not because it didn't exist, but we went for 5-3 and 7-1. It's just like, what is going on? Like, how many more of these like undercover, thinking out of the box scenarios exist that we can still tap into? But yeah, Rian, let's hear your thoughts before I go.
Just a quick one. If we go to you, Rian, the 7-1, Willie Leroux as the back. That's a surprise, possibly. I wasn't expecting. I mean, I know why they put in the tried and tested and the old boys, but I was surprised. I would have still gone with the scrummy with Reiner or somebody. What do you think?
Yeah. If Faf Faf knocked himself out against a Ardie Sevilla knee once. What if something like that happens again? Are we happy to have Cheslin Colby be the 9 for 40 minutes of the game?
in a wet game against All Blacks under heaps of pressure, that's going to probably go well, right?
So that's a scary part for me.
Okay,
it is an extremely risky YOLO. I'm Jock Nienaber. I'm leaving the day afterwards to go live in Dublin. So here you go. Here's your 7-1. So here you go. Here's your 7-1 for me. Obviously, there is backups within backups in this team, but obviously there is big backups within backups in this team. But obviously there is big backups within backups in this team. But obviously there is big backups within backups in this team. Obviously, there's big backups with backups. Obviously, big backups. The pressure's on Pollard too much. So that's the big one for me. I trust the forward pack. We've seen this forward pack. So that's the big one for me. I trust the forward pack. We've seen this forward pack. So that's the big one for me. I trust the guys coming on. Jean Klein, actually that's the big one for me. I trust the guys coming on. Jean Klein, actually that's the big one. I'm happy with that. Quafa, guys know what he can do. Mr. Baptist, I'm happy with that. Quafa, as great as it is, but if the wrong guy gets his chance, I'm happy with that. Quafa, as great as it is, but if the wrong guy
gets his chance. Like, I've been thinking about this all week. Like, this for me is absolutely like perfect. I've been thinking about this all the conditions that we're expecting. Absolutely, that's the team in the back line all out there. But if it was dry, I'm being honest. I don't think. But if it was dry, I'm worried about this team. I'm being honest. We kind of put that all back. We know what it looks like. We're going to go back into the tighter game. We know what it looks like. We're going to go back into the. And I still, I was there. I still think the best way, and I still our best was there. I still think that way, and I still think our best was there. But that's not the team we picked, and it's not going to be the conditions. So for the conditions, that's not the right team we picked, and it's not the 7-1 conditions. So for the conditions, yeah, but you just gotta hope because I'm not. Some people say the condition might be dry, but you just gotta hope because I'm not. Some people say the condition might be dry, but you just gotta hope. Yeah. I think it's pretty much certain it's going to be I think you guys, I mean, and the guy in the comments, I think, just score predictions as well. How do you guys see this going? Score predictions have New Zealand. How do you guys see favorites at the moment? I have New Zealand 1 point. How do you guys see? I would say New Zealand 1 points. I reckon it's within 5 points. I reckon it's within 5 points. I said I was going to warn him not to punch me to the screen, and I just think All Blacks would be in the bonnet in the form they're showing. I just think All Blacks would be in the bonnet. This is a form that might be a game too far. We'll be up for it. I hope we win, but I'm going to call it might be a game too far. We'll be up for it. I hope we win, but I'm going to call it might be a game too far. We'll be up for it. I hope we win, but I'm going to call it might be a game too far. We'll be up for it. I hope we win, but I'm going to call it might be a game too far.
We had a 7 split on the bench, but he actually had a 7 split. So I'm very sure Faf played on the 8 split. So It's very risky and something that like it's very risky and these are like rugby injuries without any malicious kind of intent. Like rugby injuries they can without any malicious intent. I think a lot rides on how the coin flips. A lot rides on way, but how the coin flips the leader rides on way. At 9, how the coin flips the leader rides on way. Be there for 80 minutes. Dominic is playing. I agree. I think Chase playing there. To be honest, I think it's less the kicking more just the distribution. To be honest, I think it's a much more nuanced job than people give it credit. I think it's a much more nuanced job than tempo. Picking up the run. I think it's Ches is more nuanced job. An incredibly talented run. I think it's Ches is more nuanced job. An incredibly talented run. Predictions. I'll go predictions. I'll go either way. I'm going to go Bucks by 2. I'll go either way. I think it's going to be a drop ball at the end. I don't know. I don't know if necessarily the drop ball is going to be in the 78th minute or 70th minute. I don't know if necessarily the drop ball will be in the 78th minute or 70th minute. I don't know if necessarily the drop ball will be in the 78th minute. The calmness of 100 follow-up. Just everyone calmness of 100 follow-up. He never looks like missing and he doesn't look like making any mistakes. Sorry, he never looks like missing and he doesn't look like making any mistakes. I watch Split Rugby's looks like missing and semi-final. And just the difference between what actually happened between him and Money coming on was just the difference between we were kicking and Money was missing his kicks because we were going backwards and they were actually defensive kicking and Money was missing his kicks because we were cross kicks and our backwards and they were actually defensive kicking and Money was missing our cross kicks and our backwards and they were actually defensive wrong and Money was missing our cross kicks and our backwards and now actually defensive wrong and Stratus goes whereas he couldn't go back yet and now at times because Stratus goes which is literally I think 100 parts biggest strength because Stratus knowing when he couldn't it was pretty boring when he came on board to the line. I think it was that pretty boring when he came on what we needed for the line. So that pretty boring when he came on what we needed for the line. So teams that pretty there from 4 players needed for the line. So teams that pretty there from 4 players needed for the line. One in the starting 50. So it's very one in the starting go deep and I think it's just very clearly favored go deep or how to get it. I think it's just very clearly favored go deep
Run.
how to get it.
What does the book do have to say about this big guy? Run. What does the book do have to say about this big guy? No, you run. I trolled you on your run. I see your prediction. I trolled you on your
my hair's too grey.
I trolled you on
my hair's too grey.
I trolled you
I want off forwards to come out the way they came out. I want off forwards to come out the way they came out. Laser focused on the job. I want off forwards to come out the way they came out. Laser focused stadium. Extreme focus on the game. Laser focus pressure. The amount of extreme focus on the game. Laser pressure. Even silent focus on the game. Pressure. That's what I want to see. If I see in the first 5 minutes these guys are accurate, that's what I want to see. I see in the first 5 minutes these guys are accurate, that's what I want to see. I see in the first 5 minutes these guys are accurate, that's what I want to see. We can kick it further, we can kick it deeper, and we just keep them pinned. We can kick it further, we run it out where they just keep them pinned. Very good. Kick it further, we run it out. We might do 5 or 6 phases, but at 7 to 8 phases, we run it out. We might do 5 or 6 phases, but at 7 to 8 phases. If we focus like we were against the other big teams, I think so. If we focus like we were against the other big teams, I think so. If we focus like we were against the other big teams,
also what they have, what I think I feel like South Africa
focus like we were
wing
against the
situation
other big
where they have maybe other wings where I feel like South Africa wings you can't give our wings they have maybe other ways, but I do feel quite similarly about the All Black wings. You can't give our wings they under loose ball, these 4 wings that are starting in this World Cup final. No one loves a loose ball. These 4 wings that are starting in this World Cup final. Give the loose ball, no one will make something out of it. Right? I don't think that are starting in this World Cup final. Give the loose ball, no one will make something out of it. Right? I think that high ball is going to be, I think, neutralized against us. Right? It's going to work for us. And I think we need to watch out. Is going to be, I think, neutralized against Tele. I just think he's a slippery mongoose.
Yeah, he's a slippery character.
Yeah, get out of
I don't know how he does it. I love those unorthodox players like him. The ones that you don't think they're going to do. I don't know how he does it. I love those unorthodox players like him. The ones that you don't think they're going to do. I don't know how he does it. I love those unorthodox players. Yeah, exactly. The ones that you don't think they're going to do. I don't know how he does it. I love those unorthodox players. So you guys, like we say, we kind of, I think we all kind of got this plan that's going to how the games are going. You guys think Rassi or Josh have something up their sleeves that they might show? You guys think surprise? We say Josh have something up their sleeves that they might show? You guys think surprise? I think Josh have something. Obviously, people said how bad they might show last week, but that book tries. I think well worked, thought out. Obviously, people said how bad they might show. Give them the book's credit for that. They only got into 22 once. I think all worked, deviated from that traditional fashion. I'm credit for that. What England thought they were going to do, soft hands from the deviated from that. That's clever stuff. That's finding a way. England thought they were going to do soft hands from the deviated from that. That's clever stuff. Like, you know, making the marks in the 22. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. That's clever stuff. Like, you know, making the marks in the 22. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. That's clever stuff. Like, you know, making the marks in the 22. So yeah, I'll be interested to see.
There was another one where Dion came out in front, and the team just stopped the move. So there was another one where I think that's one of the areas where we didn't really run it. So there was another one where I think that's one of the areas where a lot of the didn't really run it. So there was another one where I think that's corners where somebody actually didn't really run it. That's what I'm thinking. So obviously, or New Zealand just they will try their best and not to have lines because they know. Obviously, or New Zealand just they will try their best and not to have lines because they know. Or New Zealand just they will try their best a bomb that drops on the ground,
and then Andre will put it on a dime. Hands
a bomb that drops on the ground.
That's a lot of time. Andre will put it on a dime. The pressure from the forward pack that gives that drops on the ground. That layers a lot of time. Put it on a dime. Pressure from the forward pack that gives that drops on the ground. That layers a lot of time.
That was my comment earlier. Like, in those conditions, that's what worries me because if New Zealand's conditions feel that they're threatened, that's what worries me because I'm not in a New Zealand's conditions, but I don't think they are. That's what worries me. Like, a lot of battery season, but I don't think they are. That's what worries me. Like, a lot of battery season, but I don't think they are. This is why I'm a Martin fan. And like, watching it, this is always looking for running, like all the time. His first option is to look for someone, always, and that just keeps looking for running. Keeps the defenders always watching. His first option is to look split second of indecision about where the ball's going. But the guys know always watch. His first option is the guys know we're going to be playing Bruce twice where the next guy. This is what I don't know if you remember the first 20 minutes of cricket. We were over the line, so we're going to be playing Bruce twice either. The next guy. I don't know if you remember the first 20 minutes of cricket. I was watching over the line, we were watching guys. You could see who was going to foul next. Every time you could see New Zealand knew what was coming. You could see we are going to see who was going to foul. This is what I'm worried about. This is why I'm hoping New Zealand knew what was coming. You could see we are going to see who was going to foul. Then we're going to be worried if we're going to be in trouble. So New Zealand backs are 100. If we're going to be 5%, which I'm pretty sure they will. This is also a massive grudge match. Right? It's history at stake here. Last game that we played, record score. I don't fancy running into New Zealand in the mood they're going to be. Like, that's why. Record score. I don't fancy running into New Zealand, but we're going to be running into New Zealand. Like, that's why. team that's going to boost everything. I don't fancy good enough we have to be a team that's going to boost everything. I don't fancy good enough. I haven't even thought about all week. I get to tonight. I'm starting to think about the game. I haven't even thought about all week. Just the game. I get to tonight. I'm starting to think about the game. I haven't even thought about all week. Just the runners. Like, do you think that this team is running just the runners? Like, do you feel, or do you think that this one last game is the World Cup final? Like, sure, the runners. It doesn't matter. Do you think that this one last game is the World Cup final? Like, sure, the runners. It doesn't matter. Do you think that this one last game is the World Cup final? Like, sure, the runners. It doesn't matter. Do you think that this one last game is the World Cup final? Like, sure, the runners. It doesn't matter. Do you think that this one last game is the World Cup final?
He's really awesome as a France standing the game. He's not made it.
I think with the 7-1, I think our last sub might be like Lisa. I think with the 7-1, then I think Dion will have a think our last sub might be shift Lisa. I think with the 7-1, I think maybe in the 70th episode, I think our last sub might be shift. With that said, I think with the 7-1, maybe in the 70th episode, our last sub but I do think I would say that either that or then Dion will just be the final replacement. But I do think but either that or then Dion will just be the final replacement. But at the very last moment when he really has nothing to hang on the whole, I think like you've gone for two hang on the whole, I think two lots. So I think you've gone for two hang on the whole. I think two lots. So he did it.
Good bit of step. What did he do? He never gets replaced.
Yeah.
Good bit of step. What did he do? He never gets replaced. Good bit of step. What did he do? He never gets replaced. Good bit of step. What did he do? Knowing that there's literally it's a final. Injured or the gas up by the 5th minute.
Like thank God we got through. Which I don't sound obviously maybe the balance of the game. Thank God we got through. Which we did deserve to go through. Obviously maybe the balance of the game. Thank God we got playing and all that. Obviously the fact that was lucky it happened this game, right? Obviously it's just going to refocus. The fact that they're not coming out. Lucky it happened this game, right? Obviously it's just going to refocus. The fact that they're not coming out. Lucky it happened this game, right? Obviously it's just going to refocus. The fact that they're not coming out. Lucky it happened this game, right?
Nice little wake up.
They're not coming out. Lucky it happened this game.
Trying this was nice little wake up. Like you said, we've got a lot of gas in the 7. Everyone is always like, run the ball into the field. Like you said, we've got a lot of gas. Run us off our feet. We just replace every single person. Like you said, we've got a lot of gas. Run us off our feet. It doesn't really work. Replace every single one. Like you said, we've got a lot of gas. That's probably not going to be. It doesn't really work. Replace every single one. I think that's probably not going to be. It doesn't really work. Replace every single one. Giving us our days. Last week we saw when Owen Farrell did those little cross the field low dinks that skidded on the ground. Last week we saw was spilling and Farrell did those little cross the field low dinks that skidded on the ground. Last week we saw was I just went on back to my Velcro hands all week practicing catching soap bars. I just went on back to my Velcro hands all week practicing catching soap bars. I just went on back to my Velcro hands.
Wow, it's like we're so happy not to have the ball as long as we're in your half. It's like we're so happy not to have the ball.
And what do we say, boys, if we 5 or 7 points down again at 65 minutes? Are we gonna what do we say again? Are we gonna come back this time? We're gonna do 3 games in a row in the World Cup final. What do we say again? Are we gonna come back this time? We're gonna do 3 games in a row in the World Cup final. What do we say it's not 14 we're going to crash. We would have done like 3 games in a row. Not out of it.
I think I saw a stat that said
It's
we
not
won
14
this.
we're going to crash. We would have done like 3 games in a row. Not out of it.
I think I saw a stat that said we won this. Yeah, it's not. I think the second half was 21 points.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat that we within 7 points. Yeah, it's not. I think the second half was 21 points.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat that we within 7 points. Yeah, it's not. I think the second half was 21 points.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat that we within 7 points.
Taken
Yeah,
this
it's
straight
not.
back up to Everest again with
Yeah.
somehow we've had a more difficult game straight back up to Everest mentally. Somehow we've had a game, if we lost it back up to Everest mentally, it was actually somehow like maybe there was less pressure, we lost it mentally, and it was funny because somehow like maybe there was less pressure, see what you wanted to compete, and it was funny today. Somehow like maybe there was less pressure, see the team who's like, oh, it's going to be a surprise when we beat you. South Africa, I think maybe just slipped in there with the performance surprise when we beat you. South Africa.
Yeah, actually, Eric Davison makes a point regarding the All Blacks discipline. That's true. They haven't had. Yeah, actually, Eric Davison makes a point regarding All Blacks discipline. Something that allows us in the game. They haven't had. Yeah, actually, Eric Davison makes a couple of. And our discipline. Something that allows us in the game. Right? It's been a big turning point in the game. Right? And our discipline. Something that allows us in the game. Right? Well, guys, big turning point in the game. Right? Yeah, carry on. Our discipline. Something that allows us in the game. Right? Well, guys, big turning point in the game. Right? Yeah, carry on. Our discipline. Something that allows us in the game. Right? Well, guys, big turning point in the game. Right? Yeah, carry on. Our discipline. Something that allows us in the game. Right? Well, guys, big
Had a yellow card in the last
yeah, carry
game.
on. Our discipline. Something that allows us.
You haven't got to see
Had a yellow card in the
quarter
last
final.
Yeah, he got sent in the quarter, sorry.
I think that was our first yellow card this World Cup.
Yeah, we were the only one that didn't get a yellow through the pool stage,
That
right?
was our first yellow card this World Cup.
That's also wow. Yeah, we were the only one that didn't get a yellow through the pool stage,
That
right?
was our first yellow card this World Cup.
That's also wow. Yeah, we were the only one that didn't get a yellow through the pool stage,
That
right?
was our first yellow card this World Cup.
That's also wow. Yeah, we were the only one that didn't get a yellow through the pool stage, right?
I think somehow I think it'll stay that way. Maybe some breakaways, somehow I think it'll stay that way. Maybe some breakaways,
Like foul play in the 22 in the red zone, trying to stop a try.
Yeah, I think I remember
Foul play in the 22 in the red zone, trying to
Jeez, they needed to I think that's where the pressure's going to come because I think there's going to be a lot of that. There needed to be a lot of forward. I think that's where the season and like really scratch going to be a lot of that around forward. Like that's going to be the season where I think that's really scratch going to be a lot of that around like
the team offense.
Yes, exactly. Whoever it was at that point,
The team offense.
yes, exactly. Whoever it was at that point.
Yeah.
The team.
Another thing which you'll also notice the lack of injuries. Like more, I would have thought there would have been far more. Another thing which you'll also notice the lack of both teams have kept borrowing marks. I would have thought there would have been far more. Pretty much which also games, right? Like that both teams have kept borrowing marks. Maybe it's not the I pretty much World Cup games. Like that teams have kept borrowing marks. Maybe it's not the I always think someone's injured, someone's injured, someone's missing. And to get through these games, I always think someone's injured, someone's injured, someone's missing. And to get through these games, guys, we did do the betting segment. To get through these games, we didn't really want to bring it up actually. The beautiful 7 weeks we did run, we didn't really want to unfortunately. The beautiful 7 weeks we did run. We just wanted to bring up some promos that Boyles are running this weekend. So if you guys are interested to bring up some join Boyles Sports event, they definitely do have the best rugby markets out there. And then also a whole lot of promos. They definitely do have the best. I do the show, I do my show on Friday, and then also a whole lot of promos as well. And the guys have got on board boosted the best that I come up with the show. Both of those won last week. So we had Quinny did the cock to score over 95, or strike rate to be over 95%. He get 4 and out. So Quinny did turn cock to center over 95 or striker to be momentum, doing a nice point for and out. So, yeah, just put up some promos that you try to be momentum. As you can see, they're for and out. Price boost. So, what you normally get at 6, they now offer at 8. As you can see, they're for and out. Price boost. That's going to happen. Colby's going to try the first half. First half price was 12 now 13. That's quite a good value. But we'll move on to the better that quite a good value. As I said, but I did last week's bet was for a better 5 to 1 at treble. As I said, decided let's just I did last week's bet was for a better 5 to 1. Highest, loving my highest score in the second half. But they've come to a crashing grind in highest good start. Loving my highest score in the second half. But they've come to a crashing grind in highest good start. Loving my highest score in the second half. Surprising, a little bit about Saracen and then our game of bet was out. So surprising. This week I'm going to go back to basics. I've got 2 units for RG's plus 7. This week I'm going to go back to basics. Handicap 7. I have 2 units for RG's plus 7. That's our main bet for the weekend. Handicap 7. RG's plus 7. If you want the value, take RG's on the money line. If you want our main bet for the weekend. Handicap 7. And I've got Stormers minus 23 against Scarlets on the weekend. Scarlets just they're going to have Stormers minus 23 against Scarlets on the weekend. No, man, I think 23 points. I think Stormers should be winning this game by 30-40 to be fair. So minus 20. Stormers only have to win by more than Stormers should be winning this game by 30 more than 24 points. So minus 20. So that's the bets for this week. Yeah, let's get back on it. Let's get us back into the winning.